Do you ever shop for yarn online? Well, today I'm going to do some comparison shopping between Hobium and ice yarns. And if you want to join me on this journey, please stay tuned. Ciao everyone. Hi, this is Rosie and I am coming to you from Nonna Stitching Lounge. So today I'm going to do some comparison shopping between Hobium and ice yarns. And I just want to start the video by saying that I am not affiliated with any of these companies. My channel is not big enough to be affiliated. I'm not sponsored. I don't get any kickbacks or anything from either one of these companies. And all the yarn that you see here, I bought on my own with my own money, and I'm going to be giving you full disclosure on my journey, my shopping journey on buying from ice yarns and from Hobium. So today I'm going to be doing three-part video. Today's video is going to be, I'm going to talk about the process I went through to do the research and the type of criteria I was looking for in both of the companies, the websites, and how I went about choosing the yarn that I bought. In video 2, I'm actually going to do an unboxing of both the yarns and show you exactly what I bought. And in video 3, I'm going to come back and do a summary and a conclusion of what I found and which company or which website I thought was the best to buy yarns. So let's start with why I'm doing this video to begin with. Okay, why the comparison? So I think I've been watching a lot of podcasts, and there seems to be a couple of camps around whether I should order from ice yarns or whether I should order from Hobium. And I know that some order from both, which is great. And I think I don't know. Sometimes I feel like some of the podcasters are misrepresenting the companies a little bit. Maybe each have their own biases, which is normal, right? We each have our biases when we come to shopping or the things we prefer. But I'm the type where I'm a Libra, first of all, right? So I have to do my own comparison shopping to decide which company would I want to order from. And I thought I'd take you on this journey so that you can too see what I went through to get this yarn and the things that I considered before purchasing the yarn. And then again, in video 3, we're going to talk about the comparison. So I guess why Hobium and ice yarns? Well, they're both Turkish companies, so they're international companies, and they ship internationally. They're both yarn companies, and Turkey makes some beautiful yarns and threads. I was in Turkey about 6 years ago, and we went to a carpet. They made rugs and carpets, and they were all hand loomed, and it was just gorgeous, beautiful. And there's also a lot of interest with those from the yarn community on, which is the best website and which yarns are the nicest that come from both of these companies. I also wanted to buy from these websites because, I like to do the research myself. That's just the way it is. I want to be able to say, yeah, I've researched these companies and I believe so-and-so is the best, or depends on what you're looking for or whatever. So I don't have those conclusions yet because I haven't opened the yarn. So there may be additional information, but I do know how much I paid for everything, and but I'm not going to share that with you in this episode. Okay, so what did my research actually entail? So the process I used was, first of all, I went into both websites and I started playing around just to get a lay of the land of the websites. I started, searching for different things, putting it in the shopping carts, looking at the pricing, looking at different choices that you had, those sort of things. So I reviewed both the websites, the yarns I chose, the type of yarns, the quantities, the colors, obviously the prices. And then I set up an account for each of the websites under my name. Interestingly, I'll tell you this right now, when I was shopping or pseudo shopping without an account, the prices of the shipping was actually less than after I set up an account. So I'm not sure what that was about. But anyway, so number 4 is how did I decide what to purchase, right? So first thing is I wanted to buy yarn that I liked and yarn that I would use, which would make sense because I spent a lot of money on this research project. I also wanted it to be, how do you call it, normal type of yarn. Basically fibers that were recognizable and that you would, I guess, buy in a North American store or that we would recognize here. Things that we can compare to, you know, from what we know. I didn't want to buy yarns that were odd, like things that, you know, like things that I wouldn't know what it really looked like. And I'll show you some of the things that, well, I'll show you the yarn I bought, but I did want to at least have comparable yarn to North American yarn. The most important thing that I did was after I started shopping and looking at different yarns and colors and all those things, I wanted to buy comparable yarn from both companies. So I didn't want any yarn that was too unique to Hobium or too unique to Ice Yarns. I wanted to buy yarn that, if possible, was almost identical. So this way I could actually be comparing apples to apples, right? So that was really important. So after I put all the yarns, like I put all kinds, and I was taking notes on all the yarns that I was looking at and all the fibers it was made out of and all the color choices and all those things, I finally came down to buying 7 different types of yarns. So 7 from Hobium and 7 from Ice Yarns. 3 of the 7 were actually identical fibers and identical yardage. So I'm curious to see of those 3 whether they actually look the same as well. Now I didn't buy the same colors because I kind of bought matching colors so that I can use both for one project, and because I was afraid that if I bought similar colors they would be too similar but not close enough to use in a project. So I did try to buy not neutral but colors that I would be able to use together. So I was saying that I bought, the 3 of the 7 yarns were identical in fibers and identical in yardage. The others were almost identical in the type of yarn, and I'm going to go through most of that in video 2 when I unbox. And where the yardage was different in the skeins, I actually would buy either more or less through Hobium, because Hobium actually was you're able to buy per item. So Ice Yarns, you're not. Ice Yarns, you have to buy the package of 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever it comes in. And so because I had the flexibility with Hobium, I would either buy 1 or more so to match the yardage of that particular yarn. And then I compared, after I put the order in and everything, I compared the price per yardage plus shipping plus any other costs, which I will talk about in video 3. Okay, so that's the process. I've been working on this research for a couple of weeks now. So yeah, it's taken a lot of my time, but it's my free time that I've been trying to, you know, decide which company that I would prefer to use going forward. So my shopping experience, I'm going to talk to you about 3 different things that I did notice right off the bat while I was shopping on the websites. So the first thing was each of the websites, the usability of each website, what they look like, that sort of thing. So overall, on websites and how a website actually looks, to me, I found Hobium a nicer website. I found the pictures were nicer, the usability was faster, like you could click on a yarn and it would take you to that yarn with all the details right there. Everything was really nice. It would tell you right off the bat how many colors there were. It was very, very fast. The Ice Yarns website I found very cluttered, almost too many choices. It was small icons with pictures. When you clicked on an icon to take you to a bigger picture, it would take a while. The website was a little bit slow. It would drag a bit. But both websites, I have to say, had a great search function. So when I went back to finally purchase, when I wasn't playing anymore, I knew what I was looking for. So I could go into both search functions and choose either the fiber, the weight, the yellow, the color, and you could just put in or the name of the yarn and it would go right to that page. So, I think Ice Yarns has got a bad rap because it seems to be more cluttered at first glance and very confusing. But ultimately, if you're using it on a regular basis, it actually, you get used to it, basically, is what it is. And the pictures are, like, they're small, but you can, increase them, zoom them in or out, and they, they're pretty lifelike. At least I think they are. We'll see once I get my yarn out, and then we'll compare that fact or not, whether that is fact or not. In both websites, they had a good breakdown of the yarn, its fiber content, the yardage, the weight. You can search by weight, you can search by all those things. And you do get used to it on both sites. So even though Hobium gets a check mark for, I think, nicer looking, they're both, I think, equal in searchability. Hobium does have gift sets available if you want to buy gifts. They also have amigurumi supplies and needles and patterns. The one thing about Hobium that I was a little bit peeved was that it said I could get a 20% off my first order, and when I went into the account, I set up the account, I thought I would get a coupon or a coupon code or something, and nothing ever came to my website or to my email address, so I never did get the 20% off. But anyway, Ice Yarns actually is, interestingly, if you go in the website, there is the ability to become a dealer for Ice Yarns. They actually design and build your website, and I guess take a portion of the profits, but I didn't look too in-depth for it, about it, but interesting that you could actually do that. When I looked at because both of the websites are from Turkey, they both gave you an option to choose English, obviously, and Hobium had 4 languages of choice, whereas Ice Yarns actually had 57 languages of choice. So if you speak if your first language is not English or Turkish, there are 57 other languages that you can actually use with Ice Yarns. So I thought that was kind of cool. Although for my usability, I just want to make sure that they had English, of course. Currency. So this was an interesting criteria that I looked at because I am Canadian, and when I go into either international websites or American websites, I always look to see if they have a Canadian dollar conversion. So I'm happy to say that both websites had 4 choices, or well, actually had choices for different currency. Hobium had 4 choices. And Ice Yarns had 35 choices, which I thought was pretty cool. What I found, though, I liked about Ice Yarns was that not only could I choose my currency, but the prices per unit and per package of the yarn on the website actually changed to the Canadian currency. So when I checked out, it was actually Canadian currency. Whereas Hobium allowed you to choose Canadian, but it did not change the prices. So I always had to do a conversion, although it did at checkout have a little chart saying your approximate cost if you're Canadian, or if you're English would be in pounds, or in Canadian in Canadian funds, or the euro. So I think it had those 4 choices. But the actual money at checkout was still in American funds. It wasn't in Canadian funds. So those of you in the US, I don't think it's going to matter too much for you, but for us in Canada, it was, so we didn't have to do the conversion. Ice Yarns actually gave us that amount. So I thought that was pretty cool. Hobium also talks about, well, it says on their website that they will give a 30-day money-back guarantee, where I don't see anything like that in Ice Yarns. So those were the 3 things that from the website and from shopping that I noticed right off the bat. So that really concludes my first video, which is basically to tell you the process I went through in my comparison shopping to get the most objective comparison possible. And my next video, I'm actually going to open up these suckers. So join me for my next video, and you will see exactly the 7 different types of yarns that I bought. So thank you for joining me, and ciao for now.